Hey, so for those that's been rocking with me for a long time now, I've been, I guess, active on social media for, I don't know, maybe since 2020, 2021, as far as the stock market stuff goes. Some of you are just, coming across like me because I'm doing YouTube and Instagram or whatever, but a lot of people that I've been rocking with or has been rocking with me has been from Keenan Grace's Discord, right? So I learned a lot of lessons there, and I've helped a lot of people as well. A lot of people that I helped has come up significantly more than I have. And a lot of that has to do with them believing in me more than I believe in me, or more than I did believe in me, right? So what I mean by that is that my research, my technicals, the plays I call out, they're a hit 9 times out of 10, right? Like it's anybody could probably tell you that, it's rare that rail's wrong, like, and I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that. But there's been some instances where, something would show one way for someone else that's like a beast at this. And then, so they'll think one direction, then I come in and I'll say my piece and it actually goes my way 9 times out of 10. If there's a conflict, like, and I step in and I give my 2 cents or I disagree, then typically goes in my favor, right? I guess part of that though is me always seeing the bear case to every bull case, and every bull case I see the bear case. At least I try to, right? So just because one of the biggest lessons I learned was from Keenan, and that was never get married to a direction, and that was like in the early stages of my trading career. Was where I kind of fell off a lot. So if we weren't in a bear market, I was losing money because I didn't trust the upside. I didn't psychologically I couldn't play the upside, but that's neither here nor there. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I've not gotten to where I think I should be in the time I've been trading. And like anything that we do in this stock market game, a lot of it comes down to who you are, and just your character in this market. Like, do you believe in yourself? Are you trusting your convictions? Are you acting on those convictions? Or are you hesitant? Are you acting out of fear? And that would define me a lot. I was so fearful of losing, when one of the rules, right, is you will lose, right? Like, but at the same time, when you lose, it sucks. But it's like the sooner you come to terms that that's going to happen, the sooner you're probably going to be less stressed and less timid and less um, just unsure, and less likely to move out of fear. So I think that was one of my biggest struggles, like, so throughout the trading journey, for those that have not given up, right, and for those that are still trying to find their way, um, you just know that it might not be just one thing that you need to overcome before you are successful in this market. It might be a multitude of things. And, I'm successful in my day to day. I don't need the stock market. I do pretty well. However, I'm a guy that, like, I thrive off of challenge, and I thrive off of um, being told that I can't do something, or not having the ability to do something, right? Like, if something's hard for me, I'm not the guy to turn around and just walk away. Like, it would eat away at my soul if I didn't try to overcome something that I couldn't figure out, right? Like, it's just like it's not in my DNA to just walk away from something like that. I come from nothing, right? Like, and like probably many people that follow us, or follow me, or that are out there in general, like, A lot of us don't come from wealth, right? A lot of us come from single family incomes or single moms that work 3 jobs, right? And I don't know who had to rock some airs going to school and getting ribbed, but that was me, And I didn't have Jordans after I was 6 years old, like all that stuff went away. I was working at 9. I moved out when I was 16, like so. Um, but I was like one of the first in my family to get to college and graduate, like I made it out the hood, and that was an accomplishment. But there was also like the environment that wanted to hold you back and hold you in there, um, and just kind of like get thrown into that statistical cycle of this is just where you're supposed to be. You stuck, right? And I just never wanted to feel like I was stuck anywhere. So, um, I just say all that to say, like last night, what was the last night? Last night I got to a point where I just, I kind of got pissed off, like because it's more like, well, I got fed up, because I got fed up because um 99% of the time, at least it feels like 99% of the time, your boy is right. I don't know what it is, but I'm right. It just happens. I mean, and what sucks is that when I'm not capitalizing on what I'm right about, what sucks more, is seeing the family capitalize on it more so than me. Now, it doesn't suck as far as like y'all coming up, but because I want people to eat. Like that's why I share my opinions. That's why I share my insight, my technicals, and things of that nature. That stuff, like for me to share with you, is it just for me it just makes sense. It just doesn't make sense to keep something inside that you see, right? Like if you see something, why not say something? As long as we all have the mutual understanding that um, it's not financial advice, and I'm just speaking from what my perspective is, right? And you can take that information and do what you will with it, right? So anyway, I got fed up last night because it was an instance where I was sitting in the car. So every Wednesday, we take my daughter to gymnastics. My daughters to gymnastics, and we have like an hour time period where we have to just sit there and wait. So during that time, I'm typically researching the stock market and or um, uh, looking at futures for potential plays. So last night, um, I think last night was Wednesday. Last night, everybody in the Discord, for the most part, was saying, "No, we're going down, we're going down, we're going down." And I seen something different. Like my levels, I seen something different. And sure, like so, I said we're going up, right? And I said once we hit this level, I'm probably going to get into a long, right? So sure enough, we went up, right? Everybody like, shout out, yeah, you're right, good shit, whatever. And then we had a little bit of a pullback, and then I got stopped out, right? Stopped out, and I made I don't know, a couple $100, $200. Nothing to be like a frown about. That's another thing. That's a lesson I learned. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. But it was a couple $100. So good job, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm good. Too often, if I stay in too long, then I end up giving it back, and I don't want to do that. So shut it down, right? I closed my laptop, whatever. Um, was that during that time? Yeah. Because we were on the way home. Yep. So anyway, we were on the way home, and then that play. Um, anyway, we were on the way home. I did the play, shut down the laptop, whatever. I was done. I let the Discord know, screenshot, boom, there we go. Like, yeah, rail came up. It is what it is. Um, Next thing you know, I get an alert from I think it was Choppa or Droppa, one of the two, in the Discord, that said, "Hey," I think it was Chop. I think he said, "Hey, Rail, I don't know if you're still in that play, but good call out." And I'm like, what? I said, okay. So I pull up my phone, pull up TradingView, and I look at the chart, and I'm like, that's a $2,000 move. Mad, like angry, like just not because I missed that play, but it's because I've missed hundreds of plays like that. Hundreds. If my mindset was different 3 years ago, if I learned these lessons faster, I don't even know where I would be. I think I would have a ton more money than I have right now. And money isn't everything, but when you're putting in the time and energy into something, you want that return, right? Um, but at that point, essentially, I had that feeling of being fed up. So I ended up venting a little bit. I went upstairs, talked to my guidance counselor, aka my wife. She's the one that peels me off the ceiling if I get hot or whatever. And typically, when I'm that stressed, it's because I probably blew up an account, which typically is because I went against my rules, or it was like my fault. It's never the market's fault, just so you know. Like, it's something you did if you blow up an account or if you allow that to happen. So anyway, that happened. So I ended up talking to her and just venting, and then I just said, you know what? I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna instead of like internalizing my frustrations and just like eating it and just moving on, I'm gonna talk to the family. I'm gonna talk to the community. I'm gonna see if by sharing what I'm going through um will in turn provide me with some type of insight as far as like what I should do different, because I know it's not the skill. I know it's not my technicals. I know 99% of everything that I'm doing is right? But there's a 1% that's like a dark cloud that's fear, right? So, fear of losing. So, I had vented into the family, learned that a couple people were able to capitalize on that play along for on NQ futures or ES. I think they were playing NQ with me. And these are vets, right? These are guys that are making tens of thousands of dollars in the market, right? But they're my peers nonetheless. And two things happened. I screenshotted those their responses, and I'm gonna put them up right here, because it's never like, once you get to the point where I'm at, like where I've been, if you've been doing it a while and you've been like chipping away at all of the issues that you have in the market, but you're still not where you want to be, it's typically nothing groundbreaking that's going to be the thing that gets you over the hump. It's probably something so small, or it's probably a conversation that you need to have in order for you to be enlightened, or just to have a change in perspective. And I think that's what happened to me last night. And I was reluctant to make this video because it's only been a day, right? Like, who's to say that, things won't revert back to, the ways of old. But anyway, those two comments that stood out. One was money. Money was like, "Rel, you too good to be scaring yourself out of your convictions," or something along those lines. And I'm like, huh, yep, you're right. In my head, that's what I'm thinking. And then two, who was it? I think it was Chop. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying his name wrong. Hold on. And the other comment was from Kobe, and Kobe Cheese. If y'all don't know who he is, he's just he's one of the goats in KG's Discord. You know that we've been rocking with for a while, right? But his feedback was more of like an insight of as far as his approach to plays in general, and it's so simple. Like it's like you think like, well, no, well, duh, right? But at the same time, like it's one of those where I know what I was doing, and what I was doing was wrong. For some reason, though, like it was like a core of my impulsivity, right? So that FOMO type of reaction or whatever. So I'll tell you what he said. So essentially, what he said is how he plays it. My levels are my levels. I'll never use somebody else's levels. I pay attention to people, whatever, but at the same time, like my technicals are my technicals. I mean, at this point, you chart the way you chart, you do how you do, but your approach to the game can be adjusted, right? So anyway, what he ended up saying was, he says, his stops, one, he doesn't do a trailing stop loss, right? And that's something I put on because moving out of fear, like I don't want to be stopped out of my play, but at the same time I get mad when I don't get the full run of the play, and I'll explain a couple of things too. But anyway, his approach is having a tighter stop loss. He doesn't lose, more than six ticks or whatever. So about $40 to $60, right? It's kind of like a narrow window where I was putting on about 100, like 20, and then anyway, I was explaining what I was doing. But anyway, he was like, he keeps it tight, but then why it works for him is that he gets like the as perfect of an entry as you possibly can into his play. So so let's say if your play was 17,988 on the NQ, and that was your entry, right? Well, if the stock had shot well past that, he won't touch it, right? Like even on retracement, unless it went like back to that level, his entry, he's not getting in, because that increases like the level of your stop loss. And of course, like you think like duh, like right, like the closer you are to your entry, the tighter your stop loss can be. But like I said, sometimes that obvious stuff is like what you just don't think about. So what I was doing, I would do 20 ticks as far as a buffer, so about $100, right? Yeah, about $100. So, but by doing that, you're losing $100, and then like like the play isn't done. So I ended up getting caught a couple times moving my stop loss, right? And you get smoked. It's just what it is. You're losing. You have more risk, and then you have more risk, and then also my entries weren't as solid as they probably should have been. Even though I knew where to enter or whatever, like I know what to do, but you end up trying to play momentum, or you end up missing your entry, and then you try to get in. But when you get in, you're well above where your initial entry was. So that means that if you have a stop, right, your stop loss is going to be significantly high, as far as like dollar value, as far as risk. So I put this out there, not long ago too, that you increase your risk by chasing plays. The risk reward ratio is decreased because you are so far away from your ideal entry point. And too often that happened to me. And that's FOMO, momentum, and like just driving me in, wanting to catch the play, whatever, but then constantly getting stopped out, right? And or not being able to take profit because how the play was moving, right? In accordance to like my exit or target, my stop position. So it's all out of whack, essentially. So I'll put those comments up, but those were like the two big things, right? Like playing your stops manually to in accordance to the structure of the play, instead of just the just a dollar amount, right? So anyway, moving forward today, this morning, I experimented. I was like, you know what? That makes total sense. Kobe Cheese, salute to you, bro. Thank you. That makes total sense. If I just wait for the perfect entry at the levels that I set, instead of like getting in too late or trying to get in too early because I'm trying to catch the move and not miss it, that's where my brain was for some reason. Let me just focus on trying to get it at that level. Like when I'm seeing strength at above or below that level based on however the play is moving, right? Also, let me try to let the stock run. Let me see what happens if I just let the full thing run. Now, that was hard for me to do. Letting it play out was hard for me to do. I did it a couple times, but by doing it, I also got smoked a little bit. So it wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad. I left today $600 up, so I'm good. I'm in the green today. Great, right? But today, by just implementing that small that change, I probably just trading 1 to 2 contracts, I probably made about $2 to $3 grand in totality. Now I know you say, well, how you walk away with 600, but you made 3, right? Well, that's because I was experimenting today. I had a play that was up $800, but according to my levels, the play wasn't done. But what happened was, right, it ended up dropping back. I didn't lose that whole thing, but I got caught in some stuff, right? So I can't explain it entirely. I would have to look back at the chart to see what happened, but ultimately I was letting things play out in accordance to my levels. So that being said, after today, I felt so god dang confident, right? In myself, in my skill set, in my abilities to do this. It's like a light bulb went off. And I told you that I was reluctant on making this video because it's only been a day, right? And it could be very premature. There's things that happens in the market that were challenges for me, such as consolidation periods that typically trip me up and piss me off, and then I'm trying to chase whatever. So that needs to happen, right? And I need to get through that process. But I just need to face that to just make sure that I'm solid. But nonetheless, I felt so confident. I felt like I was not anxious. I was cool, calm, collected. There was no FOMO. There was none of that. The only skepticism, the only thing that that was on my brain was the profit taking piece of it, right? Like if I'm up $800, but I know like my play has a lot of room to go yet, I'm probably gonna like bring up that stop loss, because $800 is $800. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'm just trying to get funded again. But so that's the only thing that I can see myself having an issue with, like literally letting that play fully develop. But that $800 play, even today, a couple $1,000s. Like today, if I just held and just stuck to the levels, like put my stops at those levels, 100%, like I was on a damn rocket. I could have funded several accounts today if I wanted to. But so that's something that I'm going to have to work on a little bit. It's like just trusting my system even that much more. But the major thing that I got today was having that tighter entry point, which allows for me to have a tighter stop, which reduces the amount of risk that I'm putting on when I take on these trades. And that's magical. So I'm putting this out there just to say, it could be just you could be one conversation away from having your aha moment, right? I feel like that was me last night with the guys. So again, Danny, Money, I always forget the name, Kobe, all you guys. If I didn't say it, drop all y'all. I appreciate y'all, okay? Because y'all came through late last night. I don't ask for a lot of help or feedback or anything, but in my moment of frustration, like, y'all came through. So I appreciate that. Shout out to y'all, okay? To everybody else, I would just want to give you some insight that before yesterday, Rail had two lows in the market, like mental lows. Low one is when I blow an account. Low two is when I get into a play and don't make enough. It's not about making enough. It's more about exiting earlier than you should, getting scared out of a position. So both instances, though, are a direct reflection of your or my trading issues, right? The emotional side of things, the fearful side of things, all that stuff, right? So that's a hump that some of you might need to get through. And my advice to you is don't internalize it. Talk to somebody. You got a whole community out here. I respond to all DMs, whatever. But we're not alone. There's a lot of money to be made. There's enough to go around for everybody. Okay. I'm crossing my fingers that what I went through, this moment, will be the difference in slingshot me into the point to which I think I should be. So this is all about mental. This is all about mental. And this channel, this Instagram, this YouTube, this Twitter, whatever, social media, anything I'm talking about, stock market stuff, it's all about my journey and keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it honest, and a buck with y'all. Okay. I got to keep it a buck with myself first and foremost. So if I can't be honest with myself, then I have no business talking to anybody here. I am not qualified to tell y'all what y'all should do in the market. I have a resume of helping thousands of people, right? But me, myself, I got work to do. But that's why I'm here. And that's why I love this market, because I have not accomplished or achieved what I wanted to achieve yet. And it's going to happen. All right. So that being said, that's all I got. All right. This is Stocks for Real. Take care.